any moisture. These ends will actually continue to be dry, and there's no product out here that can mend these back together. There's absolutely no product. Do not fall for it, because what you're actually seeing when this hair follicle splits, and we'll go into our demonstration with the life-size hair follicle that I created. But before I go there, I want you to see this book is our salon fundamentals. This is what we learn from in our cosmetology schools, in our classes. And I let you know that I'm an instructor as well. I have my instructor's license. I'm a national educator for influence products, and I'm opening my school. Now, keep this in mind. When we teach, everything is from within here. Your hair, which is, I actually made a life size of this same picture here. This actually is a hair follicle, and it's broken down in 3 parts. The center, the very, very center, is the medulla. The outer portion of the medulla is the cortex. And then the outer section with the scale-like looking particles, which is here magnified as well, is the cuticle. So when you hear somebody saying the cuticle, they're actually talking about the scale-like items around the cortex and the medulla. Now keep in mind that a split end, if this is one, it splits down the middle, right down the middle of the medulla. So once that medulla is split, it has no ability to receive the nutrients which actually come from the end, this vein called the papilla. This vein is actually what each hair follicle, and most people have 100,000 strands of hair on their head, and that's why when your hair is shedding normally, you lose anywhere between 50 to 90 strands a day, and you don't even have any ability to tell that you lost that much, except the fact that you see it. And most people are intimidated by that normal shedding because they see it coming out. But normal shedding only happens because normal shedding only happens because the hair growth cycle repeats. It brings in new hair and pushes out the old, and we'll go over that. But this papilla is getting all the blood flow, and everything that's inside your body is being supplied to the hair. The stress levels are being supplied to the hair. The medications are being supplied to the hair. The nutrients are being supplied to the hair. So the drugs, like the reason why they can do drug testing on hair is because of this vein here, the papilla. So no one would be surprised anymore after this why it's so important to understand that true healthy hair comes from within first. It wouldn't be based on a natural look or a relaxer. And that's why with this flowing this direction, you can dispel all the myths of where people believe that you can put something on here and it'll flow down into the vein. You can put something here and flow down here. Absolutely not, because the flow is from here upward into the hair. Nothing actually is living here. Is being kept in its state by the nutrients being flowed in here. That's why the myth that people say that you can't get a relaxer when you're pregnant is just that. There's nothing that's going to go onto this hair that actually flow back down into the bloodstream and somehow contaminate the baby. You know, again, we have logic in educating you to dispel certain myths. No matter how, and keep in mind, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but make sure that it's an educated choice that you make versus some mythical choice. And that's basically why we're doing this whole process. But once that's split, this actually splits here, and it'll continue on downward unless you cut it. That's the only way to stop a split end, and you cut it at the V, not above it, because it will continue to split until it reaches its weak point or the root, the new growth. Okay? Now, when we deal with the relaxer versus the natural hair, we want to make sure that we understand that we're checking it for porosity, we're checking it for elasticity, and this is whether it be natural or relaxed. So the things that need to be told here is that let's say you make the choice to go natural, but your natural part is, your decision is, well, I just want a texturizer. Well, the texturizer automatically lets you know that you're no longer natural, because it is a very low level of sodium hydroxide. And the reason why you have to keep that in mind, because when you use a texturizer, because of its level, it has to be moisturized more. And most people that get the texturizer, if you notice, when you get a texturizer kit, it comes with a whole lot of greasy, jelly type of products. It's on purpose. It has to come with that, because it's going to continue to need that moisture, because it is actually under processed hair now. And that's a lot of reasons why people walk around with porosity issues in their hair today, because their hair is under processed. For instance, if I had a client that needed a regular strength relaxer, but I continued to use a mild relaxer on her, I ended up under processing her hair, and now her hair dries out quicker because she got a relaxer and not a texturizer, or requested a relaxer and not a texturizer. But by me under processing her hair, I gave her a texturizer without giving her the product that would have had to keep it moist. And she wouldn't have wanted that anyway, because she wanted it straight and not a wave. Same with using less processing time. If the processing time is 15 minutes and I put it in and I want to take it out in 10, again, I under process the hair. So with that said, you can keep this as a rule of thumb when you're doing your evaluation. Look how many people actually have under-processed their hair based on whether they went under the processing time or they actually did not use the correct strength for that texture of hair. And there's only 3 textures. It's fine, medium, and coarse. Fine having more of a cortex in the medulla, less of a cortex in the medulla, and coarse having more, meaning that it's actually wider. And when we deal with that, we have to make sure that we understand that the coarse hair is the reason why we would use a super relaxer with that, is because it needs more processing time and a stronger level of sodium hydroxide. The processing time normally is higher for super relaxers because it needs that much time to process through the cuticle layers, unlike the ones for medium and fine, because medium hair has less cuticle layers than coarse, and fine hair has even less cuticle layers than medium. Now, educated or not, this has to start making sense to you of why it's important, because this is the reason why most people don't even know why don't want relaxers anymore.